shenanigans.
You would be the hope for the netting out for the days and the feeling like the moment you made it for even the worst times. It would been that for the stumbling, get blinded for the tip of the snap for no reason, the over-emotion, only to cap your body for the aching, the rhyme for the reason for the all to be doomed. Immune for the treats and then get some days for the reason for the you can find a couple of weeks, or you could be weak for the couple of weeks and you find yourself so down tired for the waiting of quicksand. Joints to the simming of fire, but you could get that for the acting of the ways. I've said that for the loans, for the done, for the death kiss, and being in love with the lies that unfortunately died in my arms, center for the flesh, and you could be the definite gate to hell, for the spinning of the tips and swirls of dead. Damn the soul, for the iniquity of the soul, for the black sheep that will never offer through life's breath. Threes and leaves of sweet grasses of sweet and confident calm, that you can find a quiet, spinning enough for the death, to do us apart from the cracking of the teeth, the gaze upon your consciousness. Transfigure for the heart, the crooked ways. You are that for the distant ways of 10 words of poems and syllables, and you can never own the distant adventure, but you can find it anyway. The explanations of time that meaningless and impact, but that you can find everything that I leave behind forever for you can be meaningless. Everything has no meaning for the meaning or not. You can be the definition for what you often care for, what is perfect, but you cannot be for the just to be the right for the which who you can find perfectly. I don't need no reassurance to be normal for the perfect, the killing of the self, for the evil, for the breath, for you can find attained, who the beauty to be perfect. It's a hardcore addition for the wedding, for what you can find a fist for the plowing down of the dope, for the poking the holes inside of my heart, for the wrapping of your skin. Around my flesh for the thought, for the dark and narrow hole for the hell, where you can find a break to loose and open like a broken door, for the lips are cracking, my mouth is so dry, for you need the medicine to your lips. I need to kiss the land away for the dark, for the giant to move, strip for the bump and no longer feel for the veins. You're inside the blood for the you're bleed for my air, for the your hardcore addition for the everlasting horror show. You won't give me some more, but wishing on some stars. Maybe the stars are for that to shine brightly every night. 4 stars. It's like a flight or a hike for the home, for the world defining to be together for the representation of what you are, to be wife, to have a met for the one I love. The woman I pray with for the eternity, for the everything to be the star, for the can be, for the representation of what you can find a cadence, and you can have a daddy for the parents of promise. You can be a good example for you are royalty and beautiful. The third star represents the sun. You wanna know for that, for to be the son, for the king, for the hero, for the promising what you can be here for the all. Finally stars represent for the youngest, so you can be evolving. Promising not to do right, for the only to do you for the siblings and dope. Stars represent that family. Although I'm not born yet for the deal with the music, I can be that on the dream. Life the long prayer. The love of us for the touching of the breast, for the meaning of yours, for what's the breath is to be the death road to the stride, to know us together in hand. Hope for the netting out for the days and the feeling like the moment you made it for even the worst. You would be the hope for the netting out for the days and the feeling. You would be the hope for the netting out for the days and the feeling. You would be the hope for the netting out for the days and the feeling like the moment you made it for even the worst time. You would be the hope for the netting out for the days and the feeling like the moment you made it for even the worst time. Been that for the stumbling, the blinding for the tip of the snap for no reason, the over-emotion, the only to cap your body for the aching, the rhyme for the reason for the all to be doomed. Immune for the treats and then get some days for the reason for you can find a couple of weeks, or you could be weak for the couple of weeks and find yourself so down tired for the waiting of quicksand. Joints to the simming of fire, but you could get that for the acting of the ways. I've said that for the loans, for the done, for the death kiss, and being in love with the lies that unfortunately died in my arms, center for the flesh, and you could be definite hate to hell, for the spinning of the tips and swirls of dead. Damn the soul, for the iniquity of the soul, for the black sheep that will never offer through life's breath. Threes and leaves of sweet grasses of sweet and confident calm, that you can find it white, spinning enough for the death to do us apart from the cracking of the teeth, the gaze upon your consciousness. Transfigure for the heart, the crooked ways. You are that for the distant ways of 10 words and poems and syllables, and you can never own the distant adventure, but you can find it anyway. The explanations of time that meaningless and impact, but that you can find everything that I leave behind forever for you to be meaningless. Be the hope for the netting out for the days and the feeling like the moment you made it for even the worst time. You be the hope for the netting out for the days and the feeling like the moment you made it for even the worst time. Snap for no reason to. If you're for the fluttering in every glance and stare, the smile and touch, and you can be that for the sending of the heart of the flutter. I would never call you a mother, what? Let's share the pain to love the green dreams. You don't be afraid, for you can be the friends and you can be everything with the love. You will never bend you. I'm pretty sure you don't like me for the being in my back with the mixing results. You act like you care, but they seem to not to be concerned for the knowing of why I wanna die, for the wanting to stop my problems, but you're ever telling me they're mine. You know what I like for the needs to be the kind of mind, for the I want the screaming inside, for the what I can think, for you could be you, for the giving of the sign, for taking me back, for I'll stay with you all for night, for the every night, for that one to hurt until I finally emotions that are unstable, for the crying of my night. Maybe I distance myself and not to hurt no more. I'll shut the door so I don't hurt you. I'll catch the day for the wishing I can write you a love song, for the kind of song that makes you heart. Skip a beat for the Sally, enough for the blessing, for the high and the tone deaf. Add to what you can find with 2 left feet. I must not be the silver tongue for the charmer, for that I can make up with the laughter and I lack. You can see for yourself and I'm quite a catch for the thinking of what you can find the kind to throw back. Whether or not you could be crying for the realizing how much I actually cry myself, for the telling the people I don't. I have cried a long time for the truth to find myself to sleep, for this to be the lie, for everyone say I'm fine. Just breathe. There's something we can feel overwhelmed inside of the life, for the stress bottled up inside, for the relaxation and release. Make space for the peace and just breathe. You will just be wandering away for the night, for the alone in the dark night, for the wandering around. You can be home for the have a shelter, for you can be a part of your eternal destiny, for the gripping of the blanket, for the you can hold it tight. Little for the pillow, for the closer into my arms, and I would not find you wishing me here again, for this to be the someone tied to me up. Slavery for the loyal property, for the wanting to be the slave, for the chain me up and beat. Use me, abuse me, importantly, not to love me, for this to be the valley, for the shadow of death in my brain. In the end, and I don't know if I remain lost in your care, for love to arms you need to know, for this is so dumb enough to you to have the reason what's left and you need to know to show the crash, and this is to be the burn. You can never be the feeling from the dumb body, but I can reel you, for you need to know you. There's no poetry here, there's just the guy inside the geometry class. You can be the class for the staff for the figure who give a fuck for the can call the joke for the swooping of whether you can get that dick or not for the text. You would slide in like it maybe the DM, but it was never the secret addiction, never filthy. Saddest, loyal, massage in this fight to keep yourself alive for the sticking under your light bulb for the yet coming to save me for the instant of watching me drown slowly enough for the calling out of my name for devouring it sinks into the flesh and you can stare beating bloody heart. You would be all the control for the warmth, the live for the war, for the patient of the high alert for the next move. Your fate destined for the eastern stern or disaster here for till the ending to watch you burn down for the writing of the die to deeply defeated. It was the one that lost Wonderland. Maybe you're in that very place at the very moment that you are to be. For this point, for stop contemplating about that. Whatever you think you are, should have been, could have happened. For the deep of the contraction, for the what you could do undone, and wouldn't bring you no good for the praying for it. I would be that for the listen, I must listen for the what's the point for the ending up of rolling another joint for the completely forgetting the question and never again to be mentioned, brought up again never. Just because I have to think about it for the what if you can make the end to just quit for the city of what you can follow inside of the pit for the loneliness and undersedative acts and kind of live for the obliviously for the mostly dead for the hump. You can find sadly flesh for what you want for the in love instead for the more common necessities and do's and eyes and cross your T's. Hide the cries and the possibility for the fantasize and the fantasies and climbing to our highest point. Feel the breeze and blow the final link of the fire for that it could be the demons of higher. You sell your lies and your drugs and your booze and you're feeling the top of the game and you lose and riding the pop of the pit for the dancing in the blood, you're flipping the spit. You thought it made everything rise but didn't steal, but the back to the question you can find a point down about it for the rest and you can find a rest inside your back and feet for the only problems to deep with the resolving of the something solvable the feeble. You coming to talk about this grip, wanted to hear me for the offer your month, abuse of the pain for the love of the wealth, taking it off for the help and give my understanding when we walk and talk, when your present thoughts are fleeting, whether or not you can listen to what I need. You would be a kind of like a wit for the noble word that proudly to fight for against all the fate. Attacks all the space for this to be the charge for the those, for this to be the truth, for the chance to win, for the lows to be healed, the pants to be the ultimate test. Whether or not you can know I'm a poet or not, for the words to soul, for the highs and heights and all that I know, highs and deeps and baths and deep low, for the putting and pouring into the heart for the syllable to flow. I need to hold that for the poet inside of the soul to know I'm a poet for the because of the simple facts of the life's ups and downs, throwing you away for the pain, taking you away for the upset for the up and the cart. Words to display for the what you could dearly part. A poet that still does what it betray. Not for the this I think this way for the first line, the end of the time for the words to let it loose and not really to ask how I can find the remnants when you would point your soul. Or I soul to point the great. For the fluttering in every glance and stare, the smiling. If you're for the fluttering in every glance and stare, the smile and touch, and you can be that for the sending of the heart of the flutter. I would never call you a mother, what? Let's share the pain to love the green dreams. You don't be afraid, for you can be the friends and you can be everything with the love. It would never bend you. I'm pretty sure you don't like me for the being in my back with the mixing results, and you act like you care, but this seems to not to be concerned for the knowing of why I want to die, for the wanting to stop my problems, for the ever telling me they're mine. You know what I like for the G's to be the kind of mind, for the I want the screaming inside for the what I can think, but you could be you for the giving of the sign, for taking me back, for I'll stay with you all for night, for the every night, for the I'm wanting to hurt until I find the emotions that are unstable for the crying of my night. Maybe I distance myself enough to hurt no more. I'll shut the door. You would never find that stands. You would never find the understanding of a man, but you can never be behold. You would never find that stands. You would never find that stands. You would never find the understanding of a man, but you can never be behold. You are the sofa I am one to be growing old with, and maybe I could unfold myself like a flower petal under the different seasons that we can remember. I am more than you ever thought I was. You would be the hope for the netting out and for the days and the feeling like the moment you made it for even the worst times. It would have been that for the stumbling, get blinded for the tip of the snaps and snap for no reason to owe emotion, the only to cap your body for the aching and rhyme for the reason for the all to be due. Immune for the treason and to get some days for the reason for the you can find a couple of weeks, or you could be weak for the couple of weeks and find yourself so damn tired for the waiting of quicksand. Joints to the simming of fire, but you can get that for the acting other ways. I've said that for the loans, for the done, for the death kiss, and being in love with the lies that unfortunately died in my arms, center for the flesh, and you could be the definite gate to hell, the spinning of the tips and swirls of dead. Damn the soul for the iniquity of the soul, for the black sheep that will never offer the life's breath. Breeze leaves the sweet breath of the sweet and confident calm, and you can find it quiet, spinning enough for the death. It's apart from the cracking of the teeth and the gaze upon your consciousness, transfigured with the heart the crooked ways. You are that for the distant ways of 10 words of poems of syllables that you could never own. That this is the venture, but you can find it anyway. The explanations of time that meaningless and impactful that you can find everything. When I leave behind forever for you could be meaningless. Everything has no meaning for the meaning or not. You could be the definition, but what you often care for, what is perfect when you cannot be. For the this to be the right, for the woods who can find them perfectly. I don't need no reassurance to be normal for the perfect, the killing of the self, for the ego, for the breath, for the you can find attain the food, the view to be perfect. It's a hardcore edition for the wedding of what you can find a fist for the flowering down of the throat, for the poking the holes inside of my heart, for the wrapping of your skin around my flesh, for the thought, for the dark and narrow hole, for the hell where you can find a break to loose and open like a broken door, for the lips are cracking, my mouth is so dry, for you need the medicine to your lips. I need to kiss it, laying away for the dark, for the trying to move, strip for the bone, for the no longer feel for the veins. You're inside the blood for the your bleed, for my air, for the your hardcore edition, for the everlasting horror show. You won't give me some more, wishing on some sorry. Maybe the stars of war for that, shining brightly every night. 4 stars. It was like a flight or a height for the long, for the Lord, to finally be together for the representation of what you are, to be wife, to have it met for the one I love. The woman I pray for the eternity, for the everything to be the star, for the can be, for the representation of what you can find a cadence, and you can have the daddy for the parents of promise. You can be a good example for you were royalty and beautiful. The third star represents the sun. You'll set so damn tired for the waiting of quicksand. Join to the simming of fire, but you can get that for the acting of the ways. I've said that for the wounds, for the done, for the death kiss, and being in love with the lies that unfortunately died in my arms. Center for the flesh, and you could be deaf in the gate to hell, for the spinning of the tips and swirls of dead. Damn the soul, for the iniquity of the soul, for the black sheep that will never offer the life's breath. Threes and these are sweet breaths as a sweet and confident calm that you can find a white, spinning enough for the death and do us apart, for the cracking of the teeth and the gaze upon your consciousness. Transfigure for the heart the crooked ways. You are that for the distant ways of 10 words of poems of poems of syllables, and you can never own you. This is the venture whether you can find it anyway. Explanation to time that meaningless and impact whether you can find everything. What I leave behind forever for you could be meaningless. Everything has no meaning for the meaning or not. You could be the definition, but what you often care for, what is perfect when you cannot be, for the just to be the right, for the woods who can find them perfectly. I don't need no reassurance to be normal for the perfect, the killing of the self, for the ego, for the breath, of whether you can find attain, if the views to be perfect. It's a hardcore edition for the wedding of what you can find a fist, for the flowering down at the throat, for the poking of holes inside of my heart, for the wrapping of your skin. Around my flesh for the thought, for the dark and narrow hole, for the hell that you can find a break to lose and open like a broken door, for the lips are cracking. My mouth is so dry, for you need the medicine to your lips. I need to kiss of the lane, the way for the dark, for the giants and move. Strip for the bone, for the longer feel for the veins. You're inside the blood, for the your bleed, for my air, for the your hardcore edition, for the everlasting horror show. You won't give me some more, but wishing on some stars, and those maybe the stars are four for that, for the shine brightly every night. 4 stars. It was like a flight or a height for the long, for the all, to finally to be together for the representation of what you are, to be wife, to have it met for the one I love, the woman I pray for eternity, for the everything to be the star, for the can be, for the representation of what you can find a cadence, and you can have a daddy for the parents to promise. You can be a good example for you are royalty, and beautiful, the third star represents the sun. You wanna know for that, for the be the son, for the king, for the hero, for the promising, for what you be here for the all. Finally stars represent for the youngest, so you can be evolving, promising not to do right, but only to do you for the siblings and yo. Stars represent that family. Although I'm not born yet, for the difference between me and thinking I can be that only the dream. Life, the long prayer. The love of us, for the touching of the breast, for the meaning of yours, for what's the breath is to be the death rose and needs to strive for the yo gushing of the wind and for yo lushing the unearthly. You can find the breaking of the lips that carry you to the heaven to rush it. Yo Cupid for the charming and love of us, embracing the lips of what you say, for the sparking of romance and the flaming of the crush. Yo clouds, they brush eternal love for you, for the darling, for the rock I stare, for stands and forever still, for the closing of the eyes, and still you can find that, for the drowning of the love of you. I will stroke your brush like a canvas and hoping to get found and make a sound, for found in the wood, for spinner across, and they will be entirely blended for the splendor. Only tasted once for the beginning and one after. You tasted the fire in your tongue, the moon and the screen between your heart. This will be not the one to break you, for the dragging you down, for the light to show you my paradise, but only just your colors I'm calling. Love stems for that personal satisfaction, maybe the final acquired dissolution for the form of the content. Find it with the label that's stuck inside the crevices, the rocket upon the unmapped chest. My body is unrecognizable, for the you can find a change, and just a track move through the mountains of sitting break down, for the finding and listening, maybe the cheating and unforbidden, the infidelity, for the ever comes to the view without the words are hard to swell, but even the one sees. I thank you anyway for the gratitude. Congratulate for the dancing you so well, so for the fulfilling for the well, for the trying to find a course, for only the midst of the tides, and nobody else to know for the looking of you. I could be what you have and you all. It was that for the only the input for the memory, and allegory to the biological machine. It's an ancient computer sentiment for you to be forced in symbiosis, for the fabricated, for this is a misinterpretation of the memory, for you can find a civilization, you can find a building apart for the cataclysm, controlled by more for you, for the matrix and go with the older conceivable without knowing for the mind of you, for the mind of what it wants to have, for the resistance, for what you can find in such sight to show. You'll stand for the flesh and giving you gift of what you have no idea for the brilliant you're getting into, for the actual duality, understanding of reality while you have that synthetic world. Your big eyes and brains think that for the what's told for the machine, you could be the only past unfolded, for that you can have the secrets of fusion. Your mind stuck in the duality, for that you cannot be the Einstein either, for the Big Bang, for your relativity and gravity, for the other truth and matter, for the math is just a counter attack for the ability to communicate.